Dobry wieczór wszystkim, how are you guys doing? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm Mysticle, and I'll be bringing you the latest in AR and VR news. So, as usual, you've got chapters down below to skip to any specific part of this video that you might be most interested in, and with that being said, let's get right into it. So, the first piece of news that we've got today is apparently the fact that Meta's Quest Pro 2 has been cancelled. This has been reported by The Information. Meta has cancelled the high-end headset it planned to launch in 2027. The report comes from The Information's Wayne Ma, citing two Meta employees as the sources. Ma has accurately reported Meta's Quest headset and smart glasses plans in advance multiple times in the past. According to the report, Mark Zuckerberg and his CTO, Andrew Bosworth, told employees to stop work on the headset, codenamed La Jolla, earlier this week at a product review meeting. La Jolla was reportedly set to use high-resolution micro-OLED displays, like the Apple Vision Pro, but Meta apparently wanted to keep the headset's price below $1,000, and the company determined that that wouldn't be possible with micro-OLED by 2027. Now, this actually makes perfect sense. The original Quest Pro was actually, well, way above $1,000, and let's just say that that didn't go very well for Meta. But after that, they realized, I guess, that it wasn't selling as well as they had hoped, and they started reducing the price. So I can see why they might want to keep it below 1,000 this time. A leaked Meta hardware roadmap for 2023 revealed La Jolla would also have kept the original Quest Pro's rear battery design and feature codec avatars, Meta's long-running research and development project aiming to revolutionize remote communication by achieving truly convincing photorealistic avatars driven in real time by headsets with face tracking sensors. So yeah, in case that's a headset that you were waiting for, well, it wouldn't have arrived in the near future anyway, because they clearly were aiming for around 2027. Apparently, for now, those plans have been canned. What doesn't seem to be canned, though, is people trying to get access to the Quest cameras for pass-through inside their apps. This isn't something that developers have gotten access to just yet. As a matter of fact, they don't actually have raw data from the cameras. However, another developer has found an easier way to access Quest 3's pass-through cameras. Reading from Upload VR, Meta does not officially allow third-party developers to access the cameras of Quest headsets, but earlier this week we reported on a clever workaround from the co-founder and lead developer of the hand-tracking fitness app XR Workout. His technique involved having you use Quest's casting capability to cast a web view inside his app, which loaded the oculus.com/casting URL. But this requires painstakingly logging into your Meta account in this web view, and requires the user take action by casting. Another VR developer has figured out a technique that doesn't involve a web view or casting, and thus doesn't require logging in or initiating a system action. Treveri realized that the Android Media Projection API, designed to enable screen capturing for custom recording and casting setups, works on Quest headsets. On the Quest, it returns 1024 by 1024 frames of the central 82 degrees of the field of view, slightly lower than what you'd get with casting, but still usable to run custom computer vision models. The API requires user-granted permission, but after that, the app then has full access to what the user is seeing. Treveri released an open-source demo of his technique on GitHub, and Upload VR has confirmed it works as described. He even added a branch showing the technique being used to drive April tag tracking. Now, this is really cool because as you can see inside this video going above me right now, even tracking these AR tags, well, you can place objects inside augmented reality and have them be tracked as you move these tags around. It's really cool, and giving developers actual access to these cameras would allow for more things like this. So that is really cool, and hopefully in the future we won't actually require a workaround in order to have this happen. This will be baked into software and allow developers in order to use this. It will probably be quite important for this to work the way it should without any workarounds for AR to look the way it should, and for developers to be able to interact with AR correctly. Quest 2 can now track your hands and its controllers simultaneously too. This was originally a feature that was only available on Quest 3 and Quest Pro, however it has now also arrived on the Quest 2. Very handy feature, mind you, as you can now use one controller and hand tracking at the same time. The Quest 2 now supports multimodal input, bringing it in line with the Quest 3 and Quest Pro. Since February, shipping Quest apps have been able to use hand tracking and either a Quest Quest 3 or Quest Pro controller simultaneously, a feature Meta calls multimodal. This included the Quest 2, but only with Pro controllers, not with its default touch controllers until now. With the release of V68 and the Meta XR Core SDK, multimodal mode now supports the default touch controllers on the Quest 2. This means all currently supported Meta headsets now support the feature, which could encourage developers to support it. To date, almost no shipping Quest apps currently support multimodal. Since the launch of hand tracking 4 years ago, it has always been possible to build Quest apps that support both hand tracking and controllers, where you pick up or set down your controllers to switch between the two modes at any time. But there's been a delay between switching modes. And of course, in hand tracking mode, the controllers disappear and stop tracking. With multimodal, controller tracking instead continues. There is an instantaneous transition between input types, but more importantly, multimodal enables mixing hands and controllers. This should allow one controller games like Golf Plus and Walkabout Mini Golf to track your other hand, for example, if developers of those games implement this feature. So again, really handy and very nice seeing that come to the Quest 2. I had my doubts whether it would actually arrive on the Quest 2 because it is a less powerful headset than the other two, but apparently they managed to make it happen, and that's really cool. They're bringing new features to older devices, and I love seeing that. Snapchat is apparently working on new AR glasses. Snapchat has actually released AR glasses in the past, but they will now reportedly unveil new AR glasses next month, but still only for developers. The company behind Snapchat will launch an upgraded AR glasses developer kit next month, The Verge's Alex Heath reports. In the latest edition of his newsletter, he says sources tell him Snap will unveil its 5th generation spectacles on September 17th. The first 3 generations of spectacles were sold as consumer devices, but lacked any kind of display or speakers. They functioned solely as camera glasses, similar to today's Ray-Ban Meta glasses, but without the audio out and AI assistant capabilities. The 4th generation spectacles were released in 2021, but only to select developers, not as a product. These AR spectacles are a standalone device in true sunglasses form factor, featuring a Qualcomm Snapdragon XR1 chipset with 2 cameras. But the field of view is absolutely tiny, only 26 degrees, and the active battery only lasts 30 minutes. So yeah, not brilliant, but it was a way for developers to actually get into this new AR landscape, start developing for AR. That Snap was working on upgraded AR spectacles was first revealed in 2022 in a memo leaked to Heath and then confirmed by the company. In his new report, Heath says the new glasses will feature a wider field of view and improved battery life. Heath reports the new spectacles cost thousands of dollars to build, and that Snap only plans to build around 10,000 of them, which it will send to select developers. So once again, I believe this is Snapchat just trying to get developers working on augmented reality for its products, and to actually have enough augmented reality things in order to sell a consumer device, because that's a big issue when you release a new device, that you don't actually have enough content for it. So I believe that's what they're trying to do here. They're actually trying to get the content before they begin selling these devices to consumers, so that consumers actually have something they can use on these devices. But it is nice seeing them actually still working on the thing and working on upgrades and fixing that terrible battery life at 26 degrees of FOV. Jio is also apparently making a cheap headset, and it will run on Meta Horizon OS. India's largest mobile network is in talks with Meta about launching a Horizon OS headset in the country, the information reports. The outlet cites 3 people with knowledge of the situation as saying the talks are happening but aren't at the stage where any deal has been finalized. In addition to its mobile network, Jio also runs an e-commerce platform, digital payment service, and an ecosystem of app-based services, including a messaging platform, streaming service, and gaming platform. Meta took a 10% stake in Jio back in 2020 as part of a deal designed to integrate some of Jio's e-commerce services into WhatsApp. Jio's controlling shareholder is also a personal friend of Mark Zuckerberg. In case you guys don't know, Meta Horizon OS is actually now a new platform that Meta is going to be letting other companies use, so that these companies can work on actually developing hardware and developing headsets and don't have to work on the software. These devices that are going to be using Meta Horizon OS will be able to use Meta's App Store and Meta's controllers and all their other APIs as well. So that's really cool, making it essentially easier for more companies to get into AR and VR. And that's what we're seeing here right now. If Jio does actually run in and make a cheaper device running Meta Horizon OS, well, now we're going to give access to virtual reality devices to even more people. That, and I would assume that they would also give it LTE capabilities. It is a mobile networking company, and I believe that would actually be the first VR headset with LTE networking capabilities, which if you really think about it, it's kind of weird, actually. All of these things are essentially, well, all of these standalone headsets are essentially just Android devices, Android phones, as VR headsets, and none of them have LTE capabilities yet. Kind of weird. Quest App Lab is now officially gone. Now, we knew about this. We knew this was coming. This was said quite a while ago, actually, but now we have the more open Horizon store. App Lab has now been merged into the Meta Horizon store, the new name for the more open Quest store. Apps formerly in App Lab have now been moved into the main store, meaning they're now publicly findable and searchable, and they will show up in categories and algorithmic feeds. Meta says store apps will still need to meet basic technical, content, and privacy requirements, but will no longer be rejected based on subjective taste or quality basis. To be fair, that should have never happened. Any app rejected for subjective taste, well, that doesn't really seem fair. Meta first announced its plans to do this back in April. Last month, the company said the transition would happen on August 5th, but in reality, that date started a gradual transition, and today, Meta sent out emails to App Lab developers to confirm that the transition is complete. So there you go. That's really cool. You will finally be able to find App Lab games inside the main store without having to actually go search for them in other means. Pico motion trackers add leg tracking and use a clever calibration technique. So in case you guys want even more methods of leg tracking, well, here you go, one from Pico. Like Sony's Mokabi, each Pico motion tracker features an IMU containing a tiny accelerometer and gyroscope. But unlike other IMU trackers, Pico motion trackers also feature 12 infrared LEDs each, which are tracked by the headset for two purposes. This is actually really smart. I can already see why they've got these. They're firstly used to enable rapid initial calibration. You simply stand still and look down, and the base position of your legs is measured. From then on, they're used to provide true 6-DoF positional tracking whenever a tracker is within the view of the headset's tracking cameras. So there you go. And when they're not in view, that's when the IMU data is fed into a skeletal model to produce plausible but imperfect estimated leg poses. This hybrid model is an interesting approach that we haven't seen used for leg tracking before. It should provide higher quality output than pure IMU trackers at a significantly lower cost than Vive trackers. That's actually really cool. I'm surprised it hasn't been done before, but then again, no other company that has standalone devices has released IMU-based trackers before. We've got the Vive Ultimate trackers, which are really cool, but those are standalone tracked using cameras, and Meta hasn't really jumped onto that bandwagon yet. If they did, I can imagine they would use a similar approach, as this really does seem to be the best approach out there. Of course, it will only work with Pico headsets, as those are the only ones capable of tracking those IR LEDs. Still though, really cool. Either way though, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world. If you like this one, please give it a like. If you disliked it, I got some works too, but let me know why down below. If you guys are not part of our community, check out our Discord and our Reddit down below. I want to see you posting your spicy memes. And thank you so much to all the Patreons supporting this channel and anyone else supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form. You guys are what makes this possible. Seriously, much love. And as usual, if you guys want me to do future content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack the subscribe button with your forehead, ding the bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.